And we're live. Woo-hoo!
That's so cool.
Yes, I spent a couple of hours knocking off those little visual effects at the beginning, so it's like always worth doing. Christelle is busy at work or something or other today, so it's just me and Catherine. I'm sure you're disappointed to not meet Christelle, but
I am actually.
Yes. Well, maybe we can bring you back at some future point, and you can talk to Christelle for ages. So, you are the amazing Catherine Turner, personality photographer, as it says on your LinkedIn profile. So I've stolen that. So, for anybody who doesn't know about your fantastic works in the world of photography, can you briefly explain what is a personality photographer and how did you end up moving from being, how did you end up in photography and how did you end up as a personality photographer?
Wow, that's a whole lot of questions in one go, Tim. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'm sad not to see Christelle, but that's okay. And we will catch up another time. Right, okay. So let me unpack that. I'm Catherine, the photographer for the content creators, content marketers online, those people who are experts in their field and all that jazz. And how did I get to this point? This is a great question. And why personality photographer? Why am I sort of coining that as a kind of a phrase? I'm going to work a little bit backwards. I'm going to do with the personality bit first, actually, and then I'll work backwards. Perhaps we'll come back to personality. I have this weird thing about there's a lot of brand photographer, brand photographer. It's everyone knows that term. Well, I don't like to do things the same as everyone else. Yeah. I like to be different. I like to stand out, and I like to think that actually it's a little bit beyond being this brand photographer that people, the term that gets used and people think of, because it's really, really important to me that I'm not just taking nice photos that fit with people's colours and their it's going to look just lovely on their website. So it's not just about that for me. It's not. It's much more than that. I want to see the people behind the brands. I want people to be able to look at their photos and their potential clients to be looking at their photos and go, that's somebody I know, that's somebody I feel like I know, it's somebody I want to know. There's a little connection, there's a mini micro expression in there of something that makes it feel like that's the real person. Now, I'm going with the word real person as opposed to that word authentic self, because again, it's another one of those icky kind of phrases, isn't it, Tim? Like we use these kind of like, he's brand photographer, authentic self. These are all a bit, okay, it feels like ChatGPT came along and wrote that for us. No. So it's about the real person, and it's about being able to feel that comfortable connection with someone. That's what I really love. I really want people to be able to, see that personality, if you will, the real person behind their business. Because I really think that, there's again, sort of more cliche terms coming up here, but that people buy from people thing, and segueing into another terms, that know, like, trust thing. You're with me. Yeah. How did I get here? How did I get this? That was your other part of your question.
How did you get into photography? Let's go back, to when you were. I don't know. Maybe you started photography when you were like 20 or something. Or were you like 5-year-old with like old disc camera or something like that? I don't know.
Okay, so I don't know. Like many photographers, it doesn't usually start with me. It's usually something in your family. So, my family were just always just big into taking photos. We were always, come on, everybody, it's somebody's birthday, have a photo. Everybody, every occasion, I've had a big family, and every occasion, photos, cameras, everybody taking a thing, all on holiday, all of this. So photos were always around me. And I remember my sister handing me this, I think it was like one of those little old Kodak cameras, which sadly I don't have in my collection of cameras, because when I was a teacher, I left it in the dressing up corner for the kids to play with. Yeah, this little Kodak camera thing, the wind on type. And I remember buying the films, like the true, and put your little Kodak in and trying to take photos and collecting up whenever you went on holiday. And they were all inevitably very grainy, or your finger was in the way, or all that kind of nice stuff. And I think it never deterred me from wanting to take photos, because I was like, I just loved the thought of capturing those moments and collecting them all and having these albums and stacks of, well, in our case, in boxes of photos that we would sort of every now and then have a look through. So to create a good photo, to create and capture people, capture the moments and capture the time, that was always in me. And anyway, sort of roll on a bit and roll on. There's almost in there. Basically, I stopped teaching, because I was a primary school teacher. I stopped teaching to bring up my kids, and at that time, I kind of took it up as a hobby, and I started doing sort of evening classes and signed on for an A-level. Signed on to just do these things to like learn to how to use a decent camera. Invested in a basic camera, because that's best way to start. Just get that basic kind of camera and a couple of lenses, and it kind of snowballed from there, because it became like, oh, can you just take photos of my kids, and we're this, and it kind of grew a little bit of a photography. Oh, okay, I'll do that for you. I started to upgrade my camera. Oh, can I do this? Can you do my wedding? And then I'm like, okay, I'll do a wedding. Do a few weddings here and there, and I quickly decided that wedding photography was not something I wanted to continue doing. You have to give up your weekends, and I didn't want to do that because I love my weekends. And B, it was going like, you have to pigeonhole into this certain style of like what you pick your style and you go and you sort of you develop that style. Whereas I liked, again, like I said before, I like a good variety. I like to do things differently. I like to challenge myself and change things up every now and then. So yeah, that's kind of like, basically, I think one day I was asked if I could cover an event, and I was like, okay, that's stepping out of my comfort zone, a bit different, something different, an event for journalists. I'll give that a go. And from there, I then fell into the sort of business community, and then the online and the social media marketing community, and then I just became sort of more and more into the craft of understanding marketing. I really enjoyed marketing. I really enjoyed content marketing. I really enjoy the online social media, and so now I'm in like my happy place where I get to work with all sorts of lovely people doing all sorts of lovely businesses and all these fantastic things. And similar to when I was that youngster, capturing the people and the moments and the things, I'm now capturing I'm capturing a really focus on the people and the personality, because I know that's what makes a great photo for my clients.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a story.
So now I'm going to ask you another tricky question. When you're taking photographs of somebody for their content, what are the biggest lessons you've learned in terms of what to do and what not to do? Was there stuff that you used to do when you started and now you won't do that with photographs? Or is there something that you've started to expand into now because you've got more confidence in that kind of photography?
I think I quickly learned that, especially when it comes to sort of marketing photography in this sense, it's not editorial. Editorial is a different thing. It's a bit more artistic in terms of what you might want for portraiture, that kind of thing, that sort of stuff. This very specific social media, content heavy, need a lot of photos type stuff, very quickly knew that it needed to be versatile. So it's not about just take a photo, you've got the photo of the person next to, like we took the photo. If this frame here, as I am here, if you took this photo, yes, you'd have maybe this bit of space over here where you might be able to put something and maybe blur the back or put an overlay, but it's not going to be enough. I need to make sure that I've got more space around the people. So that's something I learned, that the space thing and then making it useful for websites and for content, it's sort of got to be like that. I've also learned over the years, that the cliche thing, there's things like the can I have a coffee cup photo, which can be a bit like, oh no, not a coffee cup photo or another, but right on cue. So good. Or another laptop photo. Hold on, let's see if we can bring out. No. But these are fun. It's great. These little small they're kind of like I'm using the word cliche a lot today, but they are like shortcut messages.
Yeah.
And I've learned that yes, they might be done a death in a sense, but you can make them unique to you, and by adding you as a person more into them, rather than being let's pretend we're doing the phone photo, like that, instead of you being the phone, that's it, everything's deadpan and you're just there doing it. It's like I want to have my face, the way I react and the way I interact with the other human beings. If I'm on a laptop, it's like I'm enjoying what I'm doing, so let's put some smile into that. So trying to kind of make people really like they themselves, the real them.
Yeah, well, many years ago, before even I was working online, I got this Groupon offer to do presentation training things, like somewhere in South London. And I remember they were saying that for video, at least, you have to kind of do your personality like 7 times. You have to go really out to be picked up by the camera. Is there an element of truth in that with like your photographs as well? That people can't just be, not as you say, with they're on the computer, they might be like their computer, but they have to kind of expand, make it a bit more intrusive to be picked up by the camera, or is that something that you can just take care of on your side? Same like editing or anything like that.
I was going to say, I don't know, maybe in the age of digital, with the AI, I haven't tried to test out, can you make this person smile more? That would be a bit weird, but I did try once, can you clean this person's shoes? And the AI put a shoe shine person with shoe shining that, and I was like, no, that's not what I meant. I wanted to have cleaner shoes in the photo anyway. What do I do to enthuse people? Well, okay, so I think a lot of people come to me, or there's a group of people that will come to me who are the more reserved characters. So they think I haven't got a big personality, so I like that. That's the worst. That kind of words is like, do I have to have a big personality? Do I have to be jazz hands to make myself stand out? No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like being more you in front of a camera is really just about being relaxed.
Yeah.
Just being relaxed, just being there and feeling like you're comfortable, feeling like you're in that moment. It might be, I mean, let's say we are doing like coffee cup and laptop-y type stuff. It might be a little bit of me saying, okay, what is it that you're reading on there? Imagine this, imagine that, have a little think, have a chat with the person, talk to that tree. That's the thing I do. Talk to that tree, talk to that, tell them your best offering right now, speak to them like you're speaking on a stage, and then that will help people to naturally become alive and become, do that kind of bit more sort of gesticulating more. So that happens. But to have to be sort of, I like that. That's 7 times yourself. That's an interesting thought.
Well, that was for video. So video, I think you really do need to. Even though I forget that a lot of times, but we have people with enthusiastic personalities, so I'm not sure it's quite as necessary. I mean, it's like
I guess though, I don't know, maybe though, because you think of these actors and actresses who have to just keep up an appearance. They have to. It's all an act, and a little bit. I guess I am sort of asking people to act in front of the camera sometimes, but I'm not saying that because that's sounds like a lot of pressure for someone who's not an actor or an actress. What I do know, which I think is a useful thing, is that you know, apparently there's this statistic. It's probably a Google made up statistic, but it, you know, if the scientists really have found this out, however they did it, amazing. We apparently process information at 11 million, what is it, 11 million pieces of information per second.
Yeah.
11 million. And only 40 of those, thereabouts, are done sort of consciously. So, like, if we are processing really, really quickly, we've got to be able to pick up messages quite quickly. So when you want somebody to look like they're doing something or having a really great time, or you know, or they're enjoying something, or they're excited, or they're shocked, or all the faces that we do, you know, you're trying to get them, like me as a photographer, I'm trying to get them to the point where when somebody sees that as a photo, it's really giving a really quick message. It's almost instantly, you know, all the micro expressions that happen, all the, you know, anything you do with your face, anything you do, your body position. Whereas if you're trying to behave like, listen, take it to the opposite extreme, like, you know, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm very conscious of it myself as a photographer. Yeah, if you look into the fashion industry and you look at the photos of like fashion, let's say, it's the model's face deadpan, in fact, quite miserable. You know, I kind of chuckled to myself really of like looking for the most miserable models in any kind of like photo. Like, so you know, but that's because they're selling and they want the attention to be on the clothing.
Yeah.
So as a brand, let's go back to using the brand photographer, as that personality photographer, you know, I want to get people to be selling not them like this, them, but their business. I want people to connect to them. And so you have to have an element of that real person. It's no good just being in the photo just for the sake of being there, or deadpan, or just looking nice and wearing the nice clothes. You've got to have a little bit of something, you know, do something, be calm. If calm is your personality, calm can come out of your face. Rather than, you know, there's an afraid face and then there's an actual calm face. There's two different things, you know, and we as human beings can pick that up really quickly.
Have you ever had to work with somebody where you've had to dial them back from, like say they turn up in full makeup and like they look like a totally different person to what they normally look like? Because I've seen, there was, I won't say who they are, mainly because I'm not sure I can remember, but there was somebody on LinkedIn, and I went to I followed them on LinkedIn, and they had this very glamorous looking photo, and then I went to one of their workshops in real life. They look nothing like the photograph at all. Have you ever had that situation and you've had to have that kind of conversation, like you kind of, or would you just be like, okay, that's what you want to look like? What's your view on photographs that don't look like they're either so photo, and well, let's not even talk about editing and all the rest of it, but what's your view on that? I mean, is this something you'll acquiesce to that, or do you think that it's not helpful to have a photograph that doesn't look anything like you?
Yes, that again is another good question. I think it's not helpful to have a photo that doesn't look like you. The people that work with me tend to know that I would be like, whatever your style is the way we're going, and it's about you. So, and you know, my advice during a preparation would be, you know, do with your face what you would normally do with your face. Don't necessarily have more. You know, it's not. I have booked makeup artists. It doesn't. I tend not to, because that's my style of not to have a makeup artist to work with. Like I say, more these editorial or portrait versions of people, that might be something that you would be like wanting to book a makeup artist and have a bit more jazz and a bit more hair stuff and all that jazz. But I think it's going to really depend on the end use of the photo. You know, if you are trying to, I don't know, become an actress or do something, then maybe you do want all these different sort of looks to yourself. But if you're marketing your small business online, be the person that people are going to work with, who they're going to see. It feels so much more comfortable. Again, going back to know, like, trust. You know, that would be my view, is just to be you know, don't overthink it. It's the same as the clothing. You know, yes, it's nice to have a few new outfits if you can do that, But don't wear something that you wouldn't ordinarily wear, or is going to make you automatically feel uncomfortable, because that will come out of your face. You know, it will come out in a micro thing in some way. It will come out there. And trying to, you know, do things with your makeup and your hair and your things that are automatically going to make you start thinking, I don't look like myself. And it's just odd. And I think, it's odd. That's my view. End of that. It's odd. Different.
Okay. Well, in Christelle's honour, that she's not here, what would you do if after she started a llama farm, she came to you to have photographs taken? Would you, I mean, I suppose this is coming back into a wider question, like how much relevance does what somebody's business is make? Do you try and incorporate elements of their business into the photographs, or would you say that's kind of irrelevant in some ways?
It comes down to the end use of the photos. So what are you going to do, or where are they going to go? So if they're going into her website to market and sell llamas or whatever, you know, you're going to want a mixture of what it is you do and some lifestyle-y photos. Yeah, that sort of business sort of warrants a sort of lifestyle-y feel that you want to take those elements and put it into your website. You know, it might not be you modeling with a llama, but then that's partly end use, and also, who are you marketing to? Who's looking at it? Who's going to? What do your potential clients, potential customers, what's going to be interesting to them? What are they going to be put off by, and what do they want? So there's a lot of conversations in there as to whether you would, put that all in there as well. I like to try and say, is there anything you want to put in? I might ask, like, if you've got any particular hobbies, anything that's unusual, because that sort of stuff might come up in your content. You know, as content marketers, if you've got, I mean, actually, look, I have this little frog. One of my clients, I said to her, have you got anything that's sort of, we'll bring along as a straight sort of unusual prop or something? And she was like, well, I give all of my clients these frogs because I say about eat the frog. I was like, that's it, perfect, Katie, bang on. Let's use that little frog. And so we had a few little photos with using the frogs, and I did some close-ups of the frogs, and now she's got those to use in her content, and it makes sense with what she does. So again, and it extends that personality too, because that kind of fits something of her. Like, I don't know, I've had like people with a Rubik's Cube, I've had witches with a witch's hat, I've had all sorts of like little things that again extends and fits. And that that's kind of edging into brand personality too. So it's kind of like marrying the two up, really.
Okay. You've given me a topic which I wasn't going to mention at all, but what is your view on artificial intelligence? Do you think you're going to be out of a job in 5 years' time because of the cyborg taking photographs of all the personalities, or do you think it's a useful tool? Is it? I mean, clearly you sound like you've experimented in it. And what's the magic ball, the crystal ball, like not the magic 8 ball, the crystal ball that you're looking into? What do you see as the future regarding photography and AI?
That's a wonderful conversation. It's a really wonderful. Okay, so I would say, as within some professional photography groups that I'm in, the more crafted photographers, let's say, I want to call them more crafted. I don't see myself as a crafted photographer. Like, I don't make beautiful portraits like that. I don't. That's not what I do. These people are really scared. They're really like, oh, AI's taking over and we're not going to, and people don't want to pay for this. And it all becomes a bit like that. And where's the copyright going? Because copyright amongst photographers can be a bit of a sticky issue and worry. But for me personally, I'm actually really quite excited about it. It's useful. It really, I'm not going to lie, damn useful tool, you know. In Photoshop, I will not lie, I will use AI to do various things I need to do a lot quicker than I was doing it like 2 years ago, and I was having to do it very slowly, each little bit of this, that and the other I was doing. So there's some shortcuts. It's still, as I said, you know, we had the weird shoe shiner appear on the screen when I only wanted the shoes to be clean. You know, it's still in its infancy, so I think we've got a while to go for that all six. But for me, I see it as another stage of art. Like, you know, like we've been through, you know, the Impressionists and the Modernists, and we've been through all these different types of art, like art forms over the decades. And you know, we had Van Gogh and we had Matisse, and we had all these different art styles. I feel excited that we're living in another stage of another art. That's what I feel like we are now experiencing. Will we be out of work? Will it change our work? Yes. Will we be out of work? Probably not. We just have to adapt with it and find the right way. We're same as everyone, same as writers who are now up against all the writing AI apps and things. So no, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think you have to keep believing in yourself, and I think you have to recognize your quality of what you do as a photographer, to be able to say, right, this is the thing that people still need. That, you know, like for me, it's like people will still need to be them. They'll have to be their real personality. No AI is going to create that.
Okay. Yeah. The funny thing is, I remember doing a history of art course at like National Galleries, like evening thing, and one of the things that I never appreciated is that all that Impressionism and the rest of it actually came out of photography, because art used to be reproducing things as accurately as possible, and then photographs came along, and it kind of is strange because it sounds like AI is going to do the same thing to photography that photography did to art.
Yes,
as much as you can generate lots of stuff, you don't need to take a photo necessarily, but there's still going to be a need for photography, I think, however, because sometimes you do accurately want to represent what's there.
You do, and that's why we do things like selfies. You know, I know, like, probably hitting your end of your time now, but like, you know, we want to put things in a place and a time, the real thing, like then and there. That's why we do that stuff, you know. So we'll still need an element of real in all that we do.
Well, if you're happy to run on an extra 5 minutes, I've got another question, which you again nicely provided me, because I kind of understand it, but I don't understand it, and that's copyright for photos. Who owns the copyright to the like? If you take a photograph of somebody, is it like you have the copyright and then you sell the copyright to the person? Very briefly, and I know this is a complicated topic and probably differs from country, but is your understanding of how it works in the UK, like, at least, or US, if you understand that as well?
Okay, so when you take a photo, you are the copyright holder of the photo. So you have all the rights to that photo, and what you get to choose what gets done with it. The person that you're taking a photo of, if you intend to, like, if I was going to resell and do stuff with the photos of the people I take, I have to get a model release. I would have to ask them to permit me to release their photos and use them. Like, my contracts are written that I will, if it's okay with you, I'm going to use your photos in my marketing at some point. And that's kind of covers that, really. But what photographers will do is they will issue a license for the uses that you need them for. So again, it's like, I want them for marketing, I want them for digital purposes throughout the world. You choose a location, you say, I just want them for UK based marketing, print only, I want them for digital media, I want them for my book covers, and that, you know, you list out the content, you know, the reasons for what the use is, and the photographer will price you according to that. For me, as the way I work, small businesses, it's a different thing. Again, not going editorial and portrait, which command higher levels of payment for their licenses. You know, it's an easy one for somebody like me and other brand photographers generally. that answer it a bit?
Yeah, I did answer it. I mean, I've heard of model release. I think it's similar for video, even though I've uploaded loads of YouTube videos and never really. That probably explains why some people blur people out in a lot of videos, you see, because they're like, they don't want a possibility of somebody wanting a model release. Because if you don't get a model release and then you try and sell it, I think that can probably lead you in all sorts of.
It kind of works in that opposite direction. So it's like, it's not. I might still have the copyright for it, but I don't have the permission. I don't have the permission to share and sell their face. That's basically what that's.
Okay, so the final question: how can people, like, say they've watched this interview and they're like, "I love this Catherine woman. I want her to take photographs of me." How can they go about hiring you and getting you to use AI to touch them up, or whatever they want to do? How can they get in touch with you, and how does your services work? So this is your 2 or 3 minutes to pitch yourself and everything you do, and tell people how to get in touch.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. First of all, Tim, I do hope people do love me, because that's what we need, more love in the world. That's a good thing. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I am Catherine Turner of Entirely Catherine Photography. And you will find me all over the place under Catherine Turner or Entirely Catherine Photography. You'll mostly find me over on Instagram if you want to get to know my content. And I do love it if somebody's been watching something that I've appeared on or listened to something, they come and say, I was listening to you there. So if you're hooking up on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, do say, I listened to you on Tim Lewis's and Christelle's show. Oh no, not another live show. Come and see my website, entirelycatherinephotography.com, and you will find all sorts of brand packages, event speaker shots. I do video, I do GIFs, I do a lot of things that I don't talk too much about, but brand, personality, photography is really my thing. So if that's what you need, I'm your girl. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And this is where I'm going to wander over and hopefully play the outro, not the intro again. So if you see the intro, we won't talk about it.
That was marvellous. Thank you.
Thanks to everybody who's watched. There was somebody watching at one point, which is good. So thanks to the people watching in real time.
This is what God requires.